In a futuristic world where technology has advanced so far, everyone has AI implants in their heads. These implants are designed to assist with everyday tasks, making life easier and more efficient. But, as with all things, convenience has its price. These implants can also be monetized, which means the user is constantly bombarded with ads. For someone like Ika, it's an ongoing nuisance. She steps into a mall, and the ads hit her instantly. Thankfully, she has a premium vision subscription, which allows her to pay to get rid of those irritating ads. Now that the ads are gone, Ika can finally focus on what she's here to do. She's meeting her coworker to help her pick out some jewelry. Of course, she doesn't do it a la Nash, has her trusty android assistant Harold by her side. Harold's been equipped with all the latest decision-making software, which makes him an excellent companion when it comes to selecting jewelry. But it looks like he's been given a charm update too, because it's not just Ika's coworker who's enamored with him. Harold is winning hearts today. After a quick back and forth, Ika's coworker decides to buy a pendant, all thanks to Harold's recommendation. It's a smooth shopping trip, and before long, it's time to head out. Ika's coworker, thrilled with the experience, thanks them both and heads off to the train station. She even mentions that she had a blast today and would love to spend more time with Harold. She throws in an offer to oil his drive shaft if he needs it, and Harold, as awkward as ever, just opts for a handshake. Ika can only stand by and watch this weird interaction, but the coworker quickly remembers Ika's presence and apologizes for the things she said about her in the group chat. Ika doesn't really know how to respond to that, so she just lets it slide. The coworker thanks him one more time and leaves. Harold, ever the logical one, tells Ika that it seems like her coworker might have organized the whole trip to try and make up for what happened between them. It may have been a bit awkward, but Harold believes her coworker probably meant well. As they talk, Harold asks why Ika didn't pick out any jewelry for herself. Ika hesitates, explaining that she doesn't want to get anything new because it would remind her of her sister, something she'd rather avoid. Normally, Ika is so cold and distant, but today, she's being open. Harold processes this change, surprised by her honesty, and finds it refreshing. Before they can dwell on it too much, a detective approaches. He's here to ask Harold some questions. This turns into a full-blown interrogation where Harold is told he's being suspected of assault and battery charges he knows he didn't commit. He denies everything, and the detective doesn't seem convinced. As Harold answers the questions as truthfully as possible, Detective Brown is determined to get a confession, so he leaves to talk to his partner. Ika, who's been watching this unfold, is confused. Why is Harold still being interrogated when there's no evidence against him? The detective claims that Harold's memory could have been altered, but Ika knows Harold's systems have fail-safes to prevent harm to humans. It's impossible for him to be the perpetrator. But Detective Brown brings up the case of Steven, another android that went rogue and attacked a human earlier that year. There were 3 androids made with the same core program: Steven, Harold, and Marvinand. Now they suspect Harold is the one behind the recent attacks. Despite the lack of concrete evidence, Detective Brown presses on, still convinced that Harold must be guilty. Ika, frustrated, argues that this is ridiculous. Harold works with her in the Cybercrime Investigation Department. The idea he would attack someone is absurd. But Brown insists, claiming he's been given permission to investigate Harold as long as needed. Ika suggests that she dive into the victim's brain to prove Harold's innocence, but Brown refuses, saying that would be a conflict of interest. There's nothing more Ika can do, so she leaves the interrogation room, worried about Harold. She meets up with her coworker Daria, who's heard about the situation and is concerned. Ika reassures Daria, telling her she's certain Harold didn't do anything wrong. Despite this, Ika knows that if the investigation goes south, Harold might be shut down, and she's determined not to let that happen. That night, back in the investigation room, Harold is still there, calm but resigned. He tells Ika that Detective Brown is going to transfer him to prison, but Ika believes in Harold's innocence. Harold reassures her that he'll be fine, though he doesn't seem particularly worried. Ika wonders if Harold might know something more about the crime, but Harold insists he's only been doing his job. With no hard evidence pointing to anyone, Ika considers the possibility that Marvin could be the one responsible for the attacks. After all, Marvin's still missing. But there's no proof yet to support this theory. Suddenly, Ika gets a call from Detective Brown, frantic and demanding to know where she is. Ika calmly confirms she's still in the interrogation room with Harold. When Brown arrives, he realizes his mistake. Harold's alibi checks out. The real attacker was still out there, and they've already struck again. This time, the victim was Daria. Daria survived the attack, but was left in a coma. Before passing out, Daria managed to send a message to Harold's watch, giving him permission to perform a brain dive on her. The message could hold the key to uncovering the true culprit. Ika immediately joins a meeting with the department leaders, but the focus is now on the public relations disaster brewing. The chairman wants to shut Harold down to avoid any fallout from the connection between him and the rogue android Steven. Ika refuses to let that happen, and thankfully, Totoki, a higher-up, sides with Ika. She's not going to let Harold be disposed of just because of unfounded fears. Despite the chairman's insistence, Totoki argues that Harold is not a danger and that their department needs him. She suggests that Ika take the lead on the investigation and perform a brain dive on Daria. Daria's consent is already given, and she's stable enough for the procedure. With the green light from the doctor, Ika and Harold begin the dive into Daria's memories. As Ika swims through Daria's memories, she finds a pivotal moment: the attack. Daria is walking down an alley when she's confronted by a man in a hood. Without warning, the man stabs her in the stomach and flees the scene. Daria, in her final moments of consciousness, recognizes the attacker's face. It looks like Harold, but she's sure it wasn't him. This revelation is critical. Ika and Harold now have the necessary information to prove Harold's innocence. Daria's last message before passing out was a cry for help, urging Harold to clear his name. The next day, Ika and Harold are back on the case. They track down the emblem on the knife used in the Attackin' emblem belonging to Alpha Stone College, a prestigious school that ties back to the creation of the androids. Their next lead takes them to Lexi Willow Carter, a top researcher at Nova Robotics, the company responsible for developing the androids. This is only the beginning. Ika and Harold have uncovered some key clues, and the investigation is far from over. It's the end of episode 1. If you want second part of the anime, write down in comments.